all-American half pound of 2 pure beef patties, lettuce, tomato.
Singles going steady.
This is Singles Going Steady, the podcast dedicated to exploring great singles with a particular eye to the punk, new wave, and DIY eras of the last century. I'm Steve McGowan.
I'm Adrienne Meddock, and we are in a band, the Beef People, who released a single in 1986 on our own label, Zub Records. But we're also record collectors and passionate, especially about the expression of pop music perfection that is the single recording. Exploring the mystery of what makes for a great single is what propelled us to begin this podcast. And what a great single today.
Oh, my gosh. My gush.
My gush. I'm
oh,
gushy
my
gosh.
I'm gushing already. The band is called Yaz. They were known as Yazoo in the UK. It's a 2-piece band, electronic band, a synth pop band, basically.
Yeah.
And the single is from 1983, the first single off their second record, which was called You and Me Both. The single's called Nobody's Diary on Mute Records in Britain.
And the vocalist is also the songwriter.
Alison Moyet.
And she is just the diva of the UK.
She's the best.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. We both just absolutely love this band. We love their songs. We love her singing. We love the melodies. And let's go ahead and play it, huh?
Oh, yeah. We won't stand in your way.
Yeah. Nobody's Diary, Yaz, 1983. Synth pop like it was meant to be.
If I wait for just a second more, no, I'll forget what I came here for. My head was so full of things to say, but as I open my lips, all my words slip away. Move your life onto
All right, what a beautiful song. So the band is two people. Vince Clarke is playing all the instruments and the drum machines. He's the synthesist. He was the chief songwriter in Depeche Mode at the beginning, and he just walked away from them. And he was in Yaz for 2 records. And then later he would be the head guy in Erasure.
Right.
So
another great vocalist with electronic duo.
Yeah, so I mean, he's just, the guy is full of inventive melodies and songs and arrangements, which you could hear there, just beautiful. But I mean, it's all about Alison Moyet's voice.
Yeah,
I mean,
and here, this is her composition,
Yeah.
and the wistfulness and the longing and the regret
it hits you in the heart.
It does.
It does. For such a cold, icy, synthesized sound, she could be singing to a toy piano. It doesn't matter. With a voice like that, it just kills you. And a lot of the songs are like that. She's just got that voice that just takes you somewhere else.
She's a contralto.
Yes.
And, and that's sort of roughly equivalent to a tenor for a dude. But, that rich depth and, really operatic control.
Right. So this was the first single on their second record. And the two of them had some communication problems, and which is why the second record, I think, is titled You and Me Both. In fact, they released the single, and it was a couple weeks before the album came out, and they broke up.
Right. You and me both are sick of this.
Yes, exactly. So
I'm tired of this. You and me both.
So Yaz put out 2 just stellar records. The first one was Upstairs at Eric's, which had that song Don't Go. And then this one, You and Me Both. And it's a shame they broke up. They were on Mute Records in the UK, which is a pretty famous label for your synth Britannia types, run by Daniel Miller. He was the Normal with TVOD, and bands like A Certain Ratio were on there. He's done some stuff with New Order. A lot of bands like Goldfrapp now.
Yeah. And we talked about Synth Britannia being the documentary that details, bands like this and sort of the British obsession with synthesizers.
And you and I were talking about how, on the face of it, Yaz is a lot like Soft Cell. A guy playing all the music and another person singing.
And a diva singer.
Right, yes. Whether male or female, it's definitely a diva. So they don't sound like Soft Cell, but...
no, musically very different, but compositionally similar.
I think you could see that Yaz had a great effect on a lot of bands such as LCD Sound System and LaRue and, people like that in that kind of sort of pseudo-dance vein now.
But what a way to do it. These 2 incredible albums and then, just drop the mic and go.
So there's some legal issues here we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the band is actually called Yazoo in the UK.
Or they started off being called as Yazoo.
No, they were always Yazoo in the UK, I think. But because Alison is such a blues aficionado, she named it after the record company in the US, Yazoo Records, that re-releases old blues stuff. And then when they came to America, the record company wasn't too happy about it.
Because we have, the key to trademark, and you're going to get a little
entertainment law here.
Short entertainment trademark law lecture. The sine qua non, the thing that you have to have for a trademark, is it has to serve as a single source identifier for a good or service in commerce. And here you have music being what is being provided by the label, and a group also in that same sort of rough area providing musical services. So the opportunities for confusion, it's funny because I always heard
I have a lot of opportunities for confusion.
Right.
Listening to you talk about laws is one of them.
But I remember the Yazoo lawnmower, and when and like on like a little radio, they said they're known as Yaz here in the United States because of a trademark dispute. And I was like, well, it must be the lawnmowers. But it was not, because I was like, who's going to confuse a lawnmower with, a pop synth duo.
Exactly.
And they did not bring the cause of action. It was the label that did.
Exactly.
And of course they dropped the
So they changed.
head-to-head.
They changed their name to Yaz.
Yeah, so known in the U.S. as Yaz.
Because it was a sizable amount of money they were suing for. So
Right.
So they made that go away. Luckily, so we still have all this great music to listen to.
And I guess mom and pop, synth pop, have mended their broken
Yes.
bridge and
Yes.
have reunited a couple times
Yes.
over this decade.
Right, as people do, they realize the error of their ways, and sometimes after years and years, they learn how to tolerate each other again.
I know. I can't imagine
I know.
such a thing happening.
I know
but
it never happened to me, but what about the problem with Adele?
yeah, the problem of Adele.
Yeah.
Because when I first heard Adele, I said, "Why is there an Adele?"
Right,
There is,
because
and,
we already have Alison Moyet.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there's Alison Moyet. Why
Yeah.
would you need to invent an Adele?
Right.
And it's interesting. I just read a few things.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to record a pod about Yaz. It was like, that basically that question: why is there an Adele when there's
Exactly.
also an Alison Moyet?
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, well, Alison Moyet is more technically gifted
Mm-hmm.
than Adele. Why do people like Adele? And I'm not Adele bashing.
No, absolutely not.
But there is a lot to be said about the emotional,
Mm-hmm.
the emotional power of Adele.
Yes.
and that maybe she's not as technically as proficient
Yeah.
or as really as perfect a singer
Yeah,
as,
well,
as Alison Moyet.
I think the emotional power of Allison is is her thing, but whatever. If you listen to one voice and then the other, you'd kind of be surprised, I think.
I mean, that's a gateway. If you
Yeah.
like Adele, you
Right.
definitely
then you would
need
love this.
And
yes.
there's 35 years of Alison Moyet that you have
Right.
to catch up on.
Right. Tell your friends who love Adele, who aren't into this weird music that we listen to, about Yaz.
Yeah,
And,
specifically about Yaz, and then there's a vast.
it's our gateway drug.
Yeah, there's a vast solo career for Alison Moyet that
Yes.
we've been derelict.
Right. So, but she's put out a number of records, and they get great reviews. We're going to link to a few of them. Again, the synth pop is, we've done a lot of the early punk singles, but we love the synth pop. It's great.
And that notion of do it yourself,
Yes.
and how much more by yourself can you be than
Right.
than one man doing all the instrumentals?
Right. I mean, it's just brilliant, and it gives you a sense of purpose, I think, that some bands don't have. It's like we have to put in this bit for the sax player,
Right, like as we were talking about in the
for Ian Dury. Yes.
yeah, right. Give the guy needs a check.
Right. So all that's taken care of. We both love this band. We love this single. Please check it out. Please check them out if you haven't heard it before. If you don't have it, can you hear anybody covering this besides Adele?
I was going to say I'm not going to let Adele.
No.
Yeah, Adele
She
doesn't
can't have
touch
it.
this. You
Yeah.
can't have it. But it might be interesting to maybe Rufus Wainwright.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I think that
He would just make me cry if he
a
sang
very
this.
different voice,
Yes.
but similarly someone with a lot of emotional power and control.
Someone who doesn't have the voice, but I think would do a good job with it, might be Amy Mann.
Okay.
I could see her giving her a stab at it.
All right.
Yeah.
She has my permission.
It wouldn't be the same, but
Okay. Well, the thing is to telling the story.
Right. Do you have a recommendation?
I did. But it went away.
Okay. Well, I have two, of course. The first one is the first two Yaz records, still available. The first one is called Upstairs at Eric's, and the second one is what we were listening to the song from. It's called You and Me Both. They're both stellar records. They're both must-haves. And the second thing I'm going to recommend continues on that path. They've just recently done a re-release where you can get those two records, a record of remixes and a record of BBC sessions. They call it 4 Pieces, and You can get them on vinyl, 4 discs, or you can get them on CD, 3 CDs, or both. And
Who is they? Is they Yaz?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
They is Yaz.
They is Yaz. It's all the pretty much all the Yaz stuff that was ever made, and we will link to that so
Yes.
you can see if that tickles your fancy.
Oh, okay. I do have a recommendation. I'm not sure if this is the one I started out with, but French and Saunders, because French and Saunders were involved in Alison Moyet video.
Yes.
So, check out French and Saunders if you've not already.
Tell a little bit more about them.
French and Saunders, Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders. Jennifer Saunders, a comedy team, did sketch comedy from the UK.
Jennifer was on Absolutely Fabulous.
Right. Later, you may know her from Absolutely Fabulous, and Jennifer. Dawn from Vicar of Dibley. And,
So these are British comedians.
Yeah, stellar comedians.
Yes, very, very funny, and I believe that they both made appearances on The Young Ones back in the day.
They did.
So, the Anglophiles that we are, they had a show and it was quite funny.
I remember
French
Jennifer
and
Saunders was married to Adrienne Edmondson.
Edmondson, yeah. Okay, so there you go. Plenty of great recommendations. This has been Singles Going Steady 060. We're 60 years now.
It has. So
It seems like 60 years.
it does. It does. But this is a song that deserves a page in your diary.
Right, it does. And so please check it out. Yaz and Nobody's Diary. And until next time, we'll talk to you then. Thank you.
Thank you. To learn more about the artists and recordings we just talked about, visit our website at zubrecords.com and click on the Singles Going Steady icon.
You'll also find links to the persons, places, and things we recommend, and much more.
You can find episodes of Singles Going Steady on our website or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Singles Going Steady is brought to you by the power and majesty of Zub Records.
Zub Records. Smart sounds for sharp people.
Today